Hello everyone, welcome back. Good evening. I didn't stream yesterday. My explanation, I posted on Twitter that I was offered overtime, so I had to work until like midnight, which means I had to miss the stream yesterday, which I don't know. It would have just been me probably crying the fact that Bitcoin broke below 100,000 very temporarily. We had a really nasty drop in these past couple of days. Seems like the days leading up to today was a bit more volatility toward the downside than that I would have expected, right? So, we're going to recap what happened, why it happened, what to expect for the future, which is obviously most important. We're going to talk about things that are going on. He's been talking about, crypto a little bit more frequently. We'll be discussing the war on crypto. The Supreme Court, we don't have a decision yet as to whether or not the tariffs are legal or illegal. That's another thing we're going to discuss. New York City mayor elections. I'm pretty sure other places had elections too. Other states. I don't know exactly which ones though, and they're probably not that relevant. So, I mean, still, we will be discussing that and also other partnerships and things that are going on within the altcoin ecosystem. So, should be a good one. Bitcoin's current price is 103,556. It's a pretty good price to buy, in my opinion. Not financial advice as always, but yep. We dipped to a low of 98,870 on Bitcoin. Is the bull cycle over? It really had me questioning this, but going back to the analysis that I've always made is, and it still stands today, as long as Bitcoin does not break below 96,000, we are still in a bull cycle. According to my analysis, according to the super trend on the weekly chart default settings, I'll show you this right now. Ignoring most of these lines over here, that is just perfect, coincidence with this uptrend that I have drawn from the lows of August 5 of last year, 2024, the lows of April 7, fear of tariffs, and once again, we did have a nasty dip due to the fear of tariffs, but even though there's no more tariffs and it seems to all be resolved, we're still trending downwards temporarily over here. Which line do you think is going to win? I'll show you here. You think this downtrend line is going to win or this uptrend line? Obviously, the uptrend line will win because it is not as steep as the downtrend line. This is just, it could easily be broken if the price behaves as we expect it to. It can go down below 100,000. It was struggling not to, though. If you paid attention in detail as to what was happening yesterday, it was on its way down here, but it was trying to slow down until ultimately, we bounced off of the 100,000, but ultimately, we finally broke through it a couple of times and we're like, okay, we'll accept our fate. We are below 100,000 on Bitcoin, whatever. But then we kind of recovered. We're at 103,600 as we speak. So it's looking fine. Nothing would have predicted this specific low point over here, so it was purely just panic selling that was going on. The uptrend line is still close by, and it's looking like, even if on this day we were to drop down to this uptrend line, it would have been about 96,400. And once again, I'll go back to the weekly chart. The super trend is 96,338. Yeah, so basically around that same point, we could have dropped to that area and bounced back up, still would have been in an uptrend on the weekly chart, still would have been in the bull cycle, which in my opinion has not ended. We still have this whole month to go through. I know it sounds crazy at these prices for me to be saying I think we are going to hit 150,000 Bitcoin at least by the end of the year. If it's not by this month, then by next month, December, fine. But it sucks right now, of course. We're going to need some catalysts. So that's to be expected. So far, things are just nothing much going on with news specifically. Everything remains bullish, fundamentals remain strong, so that we have that in our favor. It's just that retail really isn't here. We're going to be discussing as well, open interest on Bitcoin. bit of update on that and other potential factors that are suppressing the price right now. So, yeah, what to expect next for Bitcoin, in my opinion. I mean, if we do get any bad fundamentals for whatever reason, just anything dumb comes out, like I said, we can bounce back down to maybe lowest point, worst case scenario is 96,000. I don't think we're dropping anywhere below that. And if we do, I will start shorting the whole market. But overall, I expect this to retrace upward eventually. Super trend is on its way down, so I can't give you an exact level for resistance, although it should be around 110, around that price. A very strong resistance. Currently, the resistance that we're seeing is about, I would say, 105,000. We still have a chance to continue upwards, right? RSI has already done its dip, right? We've already had our movement like that. So we are on our way back up for recovery. And resistance that we will have to break out of first is 105,000. So that's the level that I'd be paying most attention to right now. The highest point that we reached today was 104,500, let's say. So just $500 short from hitting that resistance, but it's technically still there. So yeah, I'll be paying attention to it. Very close attention to it, like I said. What do I got in my portfolio? Everything is in the red except for Hyperliquid, and Plasma was also in the green, very slightly. It just had a huge recovery today because it was severely oversold, I will agree. I'm going to go ahead and look at Plasma right now. It says it's up 11%. I think I timed the top pretty well. Not perfectly, but I mean, since the low point to the high point, that's a 45% increase if you manage to buy it at 2250, that exact bottom. I'm pretty sure nobody did, right? I did kind of predict this recovery, but it wasn't a full recovery. We continued trending lower, right? My average entry would have been practically where we are right now, I think. I could check my position history. Oh, well, it was around 30.42, which is a little higher than where we are currently. So I basically bought around here, where this pivot level is, approximately. And I put a stop loss, basically. I put a stop loss in positive, and I'm like, you know what, if this continues rising, good. But I mean, it was already up like a 20 or 30% when I checked it. And so if it comes back down, like I said, I'll just be getting out of the position. I don't plan on holding Plasma any longer. And I got out with $25, let's just round it up to, in profit, which it's like, okay. It's better than nothing, but at least I'm out of the position. I'm glad to be not in this cascade of a downtrend type coin. Yeah, it was overhyped when it came out, which was good. But I don't think it's got it in it to, you know, make these highs back up here again. No. That's out of the question. So, rest in peace, Plasma. We'll probably never touch it again or talk about it again, unless we got some relevant news to ever discuss or go over it. I want to look at Hyperliquid as well. A great trade that I entered. I'm happy with the price that I entered, right? Sure, it dropped a little more. I should have put a trigger order right over here. We dipped to a low of 35.41 on Hyperliquid. Yeah, I could have absolutely bought that. We had the averaging between these two that I could have just done in my brain and put an entry there. But I just missed it. Whatever. We're still in profit though. Could have been more. I'm running out of money. I don't have that much anymore. So gotta be careful. Gotta be selective. If things do continue dropping, you know, I gotta have an excuse of a salvation, if so to speak, right? No, but I don't think we're going to be dropping more. Honestly, like, these drops really make no sense. It seems like it's pure manipulation to scare people out of markets because they know a bull run is coming, a big recovery, and they don't want you to be a part of it. So now's the time to be a part of it, right? Maybe. I could be wrong. Maybe the cycle is over. Maybe we start making lower highs and lower lows, and we stayed down for about 2 years. But I have my invalidation zones. I'm not really looking at altcoins to determine whether or not how the cycle is performing. The thing you want to look at most is Bitcoin, right? Right now, Bitcoin dominance is really high. Let me give you the exact amount. We're definitely above 60% dominance on Bitcoin, right? Probably generous. to say that. Yeah, 60.49. This means that people are fearful to hold on to altcoins, so they're not going to have that much volatility, and it's likely going to drop more than they will rise. Until Bitcoin starts, it flips its trend back to the upside, which would, as of right now, require a breakout of 110,000, which seems like a long way to go from where we are right now, 103,000. I'll remind you, though, we went from 108,000, 107,000 to 126,000 in just 1 week, in case you forgot. So the volatility is there. The money exists to pump Bitcoin to these prices and even duplicate its price. It's going in and out of gold. In the past couple of weeks, we've seen that kind of volume. So the money exists. Like I said, M2 money supplies all-time highs, stablecoins all-time highs as well. Bitcoin dominance is still very strong. People have a lot of faith in Bitcoin still. And like I said, as long as we're remaining above this uptrend line, it's the most important one, we should be good. So I'm not nervous. You're nervous. All right, Ethereum. Oh boy. It looks like I purchased some more. 3,351 is where I bought another entry. It dropped my average price because I was entered since like 4,000, I think. When did I buy? 3,794. I think I purchased one at 4,100 or something. No, I sold up there. Okay, whatever. I bought at 3,800, let's just say. 3,600 and 3,300. That drops my average price to close to 3,600. 3,593. Fair enough. Current price of Ethereum is 3,442. I'm still slightly in the red, but I do like the entry on Ethereum if it is to rise back up to 4,000 or eventually 5,000 at some point. I'll be well positioned, but I'm not probably not going to be holding it for too long. Any breakout of the downtrend and the next time it becomes overbought, that's probably where I'll be taking my profits, which I'm estimating to be somewhere around 4,000, above 4,000, to get a decent return at least. And I think it's doable for Ethereum. Bitcoin, of course, it does have to lead the way. It's going to have to flip the downtrend first to an uptrend, and then, Ethereum will follow, Solana, and the rest of the altcoins. All right. What's next? Solana is up 3.71%. Current price is 162.43. And we did have a bounce on this support at 146. The lowest point that we hit was 145.69. I also did not enter at the right time on Solana. It seems like I bought these two dips expecting it to drop no further, but it still did. So I missed that one. My average entry's at 180. I've got a decent position on Solana as well. I'm gonna have to really wait until this starts recovering, hopefully soon. What would the downtrend look like? Something like this? No. I gotta take into account these lines. It's difficult at these points, but my entry is basically where the resistance is expected to be at 180. The super trend is at 182 and dropping at the current moment. So we will see Solana range between 145 and 180 for a while. Hopefully not for too long. Depends on what Bitcoin's move is. Hyperliquid, I already went through that. BitTensor, I got into BitTensor finally at 402 entry price. Looks like we dipped a little bit more below that. 367 was our low. I couldn't have predicted it. There was maybe this support, the 365 that we dipped to, or 366. We dropped currently to 367, very close to that local low. No, I probably wouldn't have been able to determine that entry, but hey, we still got exposition into BitTensor. Finally, I think we'll be fine. Apart from October 10, we have not seen a drop below where my liquidation price is in recent times. So, super trend has flipped bearish. That means we are in a downtrend. We did break through this uptrend indeed. So this is gone. And we have to wait and see when we break through that downtrend. Hopefully soon. I just want to see what this would look like. I think that's probably what we're looking at. It looks odd, but that's probably what the downtrend is. 480 resistance for BitTensor, or averaging these two, maybe 470, 475, around that area. Of course, immediate resistance is the 400 that we have to try to break out of right now. It's at 393.61, current price of BitTensor. SUI's at $2.03. We dropped to a low of 181. Did I not have a... No, I did not. I was going to put a trigger order. It was either at 171 or at 159. I didn't know which one to do, but then I'm like, if SUI is going to drop like to those levels, it's probably just going to keep dropping even further. So I'll just monitor the price and decide whether or not I enter. Looks like I missed this entry. Whatever. I bought at 211 last time when we dipped over here. So that's dropped my average price to 229, almost 230. I think I've already covered this. Yeah, I definitely would have covered this entry. I didn't put another entry in after this. So we're stuck here. $2.03 for SUI. I think a recovery on SUI will be phenomenal. Probably going to be the best performing recovery out of most of these altcoins. Chainlink up 2%, $15.13. I'm still low on... I'm still down on my returns. My entry's at 16.59. We do have a good downtrend. Not good, but like a solid downtrend is what I'm trying to say. With its resistance currently at around $17. Yep. We dipped to a low of 13.68. Could not have predicted it either. But prices were oversold. Good opportunities for entry around here on Chainlink. I was just not on for that moment. Aptos also with its clear downtrend here. Man, I've been buying since 319, 279. It's averaged my price to 298, my average entry, around $3. I would say that's where we do have a resistance. The immediate resistance right now is 275. The current price is 267 on Aptos after dipping to a low of 238. These are indeed new lows for Aptos, so it's rough to see it here, but I think a good recovery on Aptos is imminent as well. I mean, we were literally at $5 1 month ago. So you tell me, right? November, historically best returns when it comes to Bitcoin, and should perform well for most altcoins, I hope, at least. So that's kind of my view on things, is maybe, just maybe, the bottom is in and we can continue higher. It's not confirmed. We don't know yet for sure, because honestly, what is even going on in geopolitics right now? And like, I don't know, we're just expecting stuff too far out when it comes to like rate cuts or government shutdown. Like, that's such a long time from now when those stuff will happen or get resolved. The tariff thing, the Supreme Court tariffs, it's like there's a resolution date that we don't even know of. It's probably going to last either weeks or months or something, and it's not looking good so far. So that's kind of what's holding us down a little bit. There's also these talks of like Democrats trying to win over again. I don't even know. So we'll be getting into all of that right now. We're going to go ahead and talk about our news section. Get ready. So here we go. The Trump tariffs on the Supreme Court. If you don't understand the context, it's basically they're trying to take this whole tariff situation to court internally from Congress, right? They're saying, hey, it's illegal for the president to just impose tariffs like that. It has to go through a process. We have to approve it. And of course, if they're going to go through that process, look at what's happening with the government shutdown right now. The Democrats will just continuously oppose it, and the tariffs will not pass, and nothing will get done. So there's that aspect to it where it's like, okay, no, forget that. When it comes to tariffs, the president has full authority to impose it. Well, the contrarian party disagrees with that, and that is why they are in the Supreme Court dealing with this issue. The tariffs, like, the effect has already been done, right? We've seen how it impacted the economy, in my opinion, in a positive way. Sure, maybe things have gone up. I don't know too much. I don't live there. I don't see the inflation going up. But what I'm seeing is, I don't know, grocery prices, gas prices. The people are saying that those are coming down, although they're still relatively high. Everything is expensive in this economy, but that's from what I've been seeing. I don't know for sure. And the other thing is billions of dollars being collected from these tariffs, and those billions of dollars could be put to good use in improving the country. Maybe, if there's the possibility of removing income tax because tariffs could replace that, or I don't know, capital gains tax potentially, that would be great for assets like stocks and crypto. Or just, I don't even know, when it comes to crypto, buying more Bitcoin to fund the strategic reserve as a way of not spending taxpayer money, right? This is tariff revenue that they could use to add to the Bitcoin strategic reserve, which, by the way, that's still very long time before we see anything come out of that, in my opinion. Cynthia Loomis has to do something about it. So there's that aspect of this whole tariff thing. Tariffs good, would improve the country, all that kind of stuff. But then the other side of the coin is tariffs are bad for the economy. There was this whole issue with rate cuts on whether or not we should cut the rates because of, we don't know if tariffs will increase inflation or not. We've seen the economic data from these past couple of months, obviously not recently because of the shutdown, but these past couple of months, we have been getting the data, and it's shown that inflation has been kept relatively low. It's just like right now, we did have to cut rates because of the government shutdown. The labor market was being impacted by it. So that was just a risk management thing. And also it's long overdue in my opinion. But yeah, there's that. And if they lose the case and end up finding out that, hey, you know what? It is indeed illegal for the president to be imposing tariffs without passing a vote or without approval, anything like that, then that means we would have to refund all the tariffs that have been collected since Liberation Day, I suppose, or even maybe before that, because as soon as Trump took office, February 2nd, well, he took office on January 20th, but February 2nd is when he immediately announced tariffs on China, Canada, and Mexico, the first three who were impacted. That was a big issue, and we had a crash on February 2nd. But, I mean, refunding all the tariffs since that time to all the countries that we have imposed tariffs on since then, especially April 7, where it was practically the whole world, there's some form of tariffs that was being put on those countries. Yeah, it's going to hurt the economy even harder here because we would have to refund everything, and it's going to be a disaster. So there's that issue there as well. In my opinion, tariffs good, and this case has happened a couple times already in the past, just with different, a different court, different judges, I guess. And I mean, the president is able to use tariffs, seems to be the outcome of all those court appearances, right? And I think this time will be no different. Hopefully. It just seems like it's a delayed process at this point. And I know I'm talking a lot about it, but yeah, I'm still in favor of it. It does indeed bring countries to the table to talk, right? To make trade talks and figure out a deal, negotiate deals. It could also be used to our advantage to end wars, right? The tariffs we are imposing on India to try to pressure them to stop buying Russian oil, to stop the Russia-Ukraine war, right? To destabilize the Russian economy that way, indirectly, right? Stuff like that. I feel like it could be used well, tactically speaking, right? In a tactical manner. That's what I'm trying to say. So what we're seeing here right now, the Supreme Court justices are skeptical that President Trump's tariffs are legal. That's not a good sign. The Supreme Court officially began oral hearings at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on the case of legality around President Trump's tariffs. Trump says today's case is life or death for the United States. He has talked about it before, saying, like, if we've got to refund all that money that we've collected, we're going to become a third world country. And will these judges really screw up the country that bad? Like, just let the guy live and say, you know what? Yeah, the tariffs are fine. But that skeptical comment that has been put out on the headlines It hurt the odds on prediction markets. Of course, everything is on prediction markets, but they're disputing this, of course. The odds of President Trump's tariffs being ruled as legal by the Supreme Court has just collapsed to 18% on Polymarket. That is not a good look. Before it's looking around like high 30s, low 40s, 40% chance that the tariffs are legal. But now it looks like it's probably going to be illegal, right? It just collapsed to 18% the legality of it. So that's not a good look. Here's some copium from Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, says that he came away from the tariff hearings today very optimistic, but he's not going to discuss a plan B for tariffs right now. Yeah, I don't know how to take this, honestly. Like I said, I think it's just copium because it's clear what the sentiment is. It's clear what the prediction markets are showing. They don't believe, they're not buying it, right? It's looking like we're going to have to refund all that kind of money and it's going to destroy the economy or, cause uncertainty. So that is the main reason, of course, why at around 10 o'clock, we had a big dump on the stock markets and maybe crypto as well, kind of impacted. I don't think so, right? We kind of just slowed down the recovery to stay around 103, no more than 104,000, right? So that's what's been going on there. Trump's also made a lot of comments on cryptocurrency, saying that just adding more. It seems like the president's comments right now on cryptocurrency is just nothing. People don't believe him anymore. It's not as impactful. Before, if any high figure of power talked good about cryptocurrencies, like I'm talking in 2017 or in maybe even 2021, like it would shoot the cryptocurrency's price up by a huge percentage. In recent times as well, kind of, right? But now it's just been always, so talked about, so normalized at this point that people are getting used to it, that when the President Trump just talks good about cryptocurrencies, we barely see an impact on the price anymore. He says that crypto takes a lot of pressure off the dollar and does a lot of good things, adding that the US is becoming the Bitcoin superpower, the crypto capital of the world. How can we be bearish about this? There's a Bitcoin golden Trump statue that is outside the White House too. Why are we still bearish? That's just a joke on a side note. But this brings up an important thing, the dollar. The US dollar. I noticed something, the dollar index, DXY, has been on the rise. Even though we're getting rate cuts and everything, like the US dollar index, it's recovering back to prices to a level rather, where it was as if the rate cuts never really happened or had an impact, right? Last time we were this high was July, August, right? We didn't get our first rate cut until September, and that's when it dropped to its lowest point, the US dollar index. We had a rate cut recently in 29th of October, right? And after 29th of October, it's just been on the rise, which that doesn't make too much sense, does it? The US dollar seems to be strengthening nonetheless, so that also explains, it's an inverse correlation, right? If the dollar gets stronger, Bitcoin gets weaker, right? Because it is Bitcoin versus the dollar at the end of the day. If the US dollar gets weaker because of things like rate cuts and stuff like that, Bitcoin will rise, and we have seen that sometimes. It's usually people trying to get ahead of the movement, right? So they'll price it in early. That's why we don't, it's not a perfect correlation, but you get the idea. US dollar index on the rise, Bitcoin on its way down. That kind of makes sense in recent times, at least. It's just another thing I noticed that I wanted to point out. Caroline Leavitt, White House press secretary, says that President Trump has officially ended the Biden's administration war on cryptocurrency industry. So, of course, blaming Biden. I mean, it's partially true. It's pretty true, actually. We got rid of Gary Gensler. We pardoned a lot of people who were jailed. We pardoned CZ. We pardoned Ross Ulbricht, founder of Silk Road, right? We created a Bitcoin strategic reserve. We're trying to get rid of Powell. Trump also made some comments on Powell. He called him a nincompoop. I've never heard of this term before. Does it actually exist, or is this a made-up word? Oh, it's an actual real word. Wow. Foolish or stupid person. Wow, shots fired at Jerome once again. Always insulting Jerome Powell. Can't wait for this man to leave. And it's looking like early 2026. That's when Jerome Powell will step down, and Trump will likely appoint another person who is more in favor of cutting rates, right? He also had some comments. It was today. This is from today. He just addressed the public. He also mentioned like, oh, you know, I did appoint Jerome Powell. Yes, it was my fault, but it was by the recommendation of other people whom I trusted. You know, they recommended, hey, you know, you should put Jerome Powell as the chair of the Federal Reserve, right? So he did, but then he's like, yeah, but I don't talk to those people anymore, and well, look where we are. It's a disaster now. So that's kind of the sentiment there. All right, shutdown. What is going on with it? Were we not expecting it to be lifted this week? That's what people were saying. Government shutdown end this week. No. Government shutdown end Thanksgiving. Probably not. Government shutdown ends December. That's probably what most people are pricing at this point. And we need the shutdown to end. That would be another great catalyst for us to just continue our direction upward, hopefully. But the Senate Democrats have blocked a 14th attempt, a 14th vote to end the Schumer shutdown is what they're calling it. Chuck Schumer's fault is what they're saying. The final vote was 54-44, and it takes 60 votes to pass a funding bill, unless there's a change to the filibuster. The filibuster is a big thing that Trump has been continuously talking about as well. So I don't know what the history of the votes were looking like, or if the numbers are getting larger or smaller in terms of the difference that it takes to get the vote passed, because it takes 60 votes. So it's like 54-54 right now. Just end the shutdown, please. We need our bags to pump. Trump also commented on the reckless Democrat shutdown. Virtually every Democrat in Congress has voted to hold the American people hostage in an effort to extort hundreds of billions of dollars in new spending. They're demanding free health care for illegal aliens, is what he says on Truth Social. He also talked about the shutdown being a big factor in the election, which we'll talk about next. He noted last night was not expected to be a victory in Democrat-leaning areas, and he said he doesn't think Democrats will act soon and the issue won't be resolved quickly. He added that the shutdown is now affecting the stock markets too, and I agree. At the beginning, it looked like a good thing, and that is why, you know, October 1st, when the shutdown started, is when Bitcoin started pumping from wherever it was. Where were we on October 1st? 115, I think. We've already been on the rise before that, because, you know, people were anticipating the shutdown. We were around 109,000, right? October 1st happened, and we were at about 116, 115,000. We rose to 126,000 for the whole week, right? From October 1st to October 6th. That was an all-time high for Bitcoin. Because of the government shutdown, it was a good thing at that time because we were not getting non-farm payroll data. We were not getting inflation data, GDP, none of that stuff. So we didn't know how the economy was doing. And obviously we know that people were being laid off in the government, which would affect the job markets, which would improve the chances of a rate cut in October 29, which it did, and we got our rate cut. Where are we now? Just 1 week after that FOMC meeting, we are much lower, way lower than that, versus what we were pricing in at that time. Basically an all-time high on Bitcoin on 126,000. Just goes to show how fast the sentiment can change. What didn't help was, of course, Jerome Powell's comments, which we know it was basically like, yeah, by the way, a December rate cut is not guaranteed. What we did right now is just risk management. Okay, pal. Okay, Powell. It's still 2/3 of a chance that we will get a rate cut. I think last time we checked was like 66 to 33%. And it's still about the same. So, well, a little lower actually. 62% chance we will get a rate cut versus a 37% chance we will not get a rate cut, ignoring the decimal points. Which, in my opinion, like, the most likely outcome either way is still over here at 62% at the fact that we will get another rate cut in December. December 10 is the next meeting. So that's another thing that people are trying to anticipate. And they're seeing that this percentage of holding rates is on the rise. Markets do not like that. Another reason why we are not pumping. The elections. Zoran Mamdani won as he is officially elected mayor of New York City. Polymarket projection after polls has just closed. Yeah, Polymarket's just on fire by predicting literally everything so far. I think I have a post talking about everything it predicted. I hope I do. I don't think I do. I wish I did. I saw the tweet on it and I'm like, oh, should I bookmark it? No, I didn't. I forgot to. So yeah, I mean, congratulations, I guess. And by the way, the sentiment towards this guy is just suddenly flipped. It was like everybody was attacking him for, I don't know, being a communist, socialist, Democrat, I don't know, whatever you want to call him, a Muslim. And then, after he gets elected, it's like, okay, well, you're going to be here for 4 years. So if we can help you with anything, we're willing to work with you. All right. Well, there you go. I guess congrats. The other guy, Andrew Cuomo, didn't win. Dick Cheney, the 46th Vice President of the United States, has died at age 44. Rest in peace. I don't know anything about him, but there you go. Well, I just closed an accidental tab. And 1 year ago today, by the way, November 5th, this is when Donald Trump won the elections. 1 year ago, we had one of the greatest presidential victories in history. Such an honor to represent our country. Our economy is booming. I don't know. And costs are coming way down. Affordability is our goal. Love to the American people. You guys let me know. Is that true? Is that real? The costs I'm talking about. Because I don't live in the US. I don't know what the costs are. So let me know. Here it's terrible, by the way, in Canada. We'll talk about Canada next. But yeah. Alright, good stuff. Moving on. This has been going on in Canada here is possibility of an election coming soon. And people just flipping now parties. This guy, Member of Parliament Chris d'Entremont, leaves the Conservative Party to join the Liberal Party. Just like that. You can just flip the switch and become another person of another party. I mean, we've seen it happen on multiple occasions. There's talks that maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene from the United States, she's Republican, but she was on The View, I think, when some talk show with a bunch of random women. Whoopi Goldberg, I think her name is, the black lady, I forget. But yeah, they were telling her, you should go become a Democrat, right? And she's like, I don't know. I also saw another thing from AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, whatever, another Democrat lady, congresswoman, basically saying like, oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene was supposed to run for governor of some place, I think, and apparently Trump didn't support that. So now she's mad at Trump and she might go for the Democrat Party instead. She might flip parties to Democrat. That's like the rumors that I'm hearing. So it's probably going to happen, maybe. And there's also reports that she is seriously considering running for president in 2028, it would be. I don't know whether or not it's going to be as a Republican or a Democrat, whether or not she flips over, whether or not she will run for any form of election as a governor in some state. I don't know. That is yet to be seen. And one more thing I was going to talk about. Come on. No, I forgot. So, oh yeah, I remember. We saw the same thing happened last year with Tulsi Gabbard, for example, who is now the director of National Intelligence or Security, something. She was a Democrat and she flipped over to Republican and endorsed Trump, and well, now she is serving under Trump as the Director of National Intelligence, I think it is. So yeah. Anyways, like, bottom line is this kind of stuff is going on. It happened before, it will happen now, and it will happen in the future. So there you go. The Liberal Party welcomes the guy, Chris D'Entremont. We look forward to working with you to build our economy, protect communities, and empower Canadians. Like, that's ever going to happen. And it's unbelievable how immediately it's already been updated on the House of Commons website in Canada. He's already been switched to Liberal on the Parliament website. Didn't even wait for the ink to dry. Like, that was that fast. It seems like it was pre-planned. How much did they pay this guy to switch over? He was under Nova Scotia, by the way. His, I think, Acadie Annapolis. That's where his constituency is. Well, yeah, there we go. He's officially Liberal now, so whatever. It's the Liberals are trying to plan something with this Christmas election to get, hold on, back to this. To get the, they're calling for an election again, by the way, because there's a budget bill that has to pass on how much we're allowed to spend. The members of parliament have to vote on that. The issue is that the Liberals are probably not going to get enough votes if obviously conservatives are going to oppose it. It's $11 billion deficit, I think, in total, what the budget is going to be like. And I'm pretty sure nobody really wants that. That even other parties, we have multiple parties here, which is like the New Democratic Party or the Bloc Québécois, they're probably going to oppose the bill as well. So what the Liberals want to do is call an election by December, by Christmas time, and something, I don't know, more Liberals will take charge, right? And they will be able to pass another vote on the bill and, you know, get it passed, get the budget approved. That's kind of their plan, is what I'm seeing. I don't know if it's going to work, or maybe they can shoot themselves in the foot if Canadians wake up and realize that they're not doing any good and instead vote conservative, and I don't know, Pierre Poilievre comes back into power. Not back into power, but he will take power, right? That's kind of the view on it. There's your Canada lore. The Labor Department will not release Bureau of Labor Statistics data until the government shutdown ends. Rest in peace Chainlink, and rest in peace our bags, because we don't know how the economy is doing. Because we need to know so we could, you know, improve those predictions on the probabilities of a rate cut for December, right? $1 million question is, what is happening in crypto right now? Crypto markets have officially erased over $1 trillion of market cap since October 6th, when we were hitting all-time highs. But why? The answer to this question seems to be more technical than fundamental. That is, crypto adoption, it's still at record highs, deregulation is in full swing, and technology is advancing rapidly. However, leverage is at unprecedented levels, which is amplifying moves in the market, such as the $20 billion liquidation that we saw on October 10. As a result, when uncertainty arises or technical momentum fades, downward swings are amplified. 300,000 traders are being liquidated per day on average. Wow, I didn't even know that. And the market has evolved into its most reactive form in history amid Trump posts and headlines. Like I said, this guy is a little too powerful. Wouldn't you agree? The long-term thesis is stronger than ever, but the short-term picture points to larger swings in both directions. Yeah, so we're basically blaming leverage for why we've been dropping all these liquidations that have been going on. I mean, leverage goes both ways, obviously. That's where shorting exists, is because of leverage. And their time will come, in my opinion. Right now, we're in a very obvious period of accumulation. Everybody is looking at this uptrend line that I'm also been looking at. I'm pretty sure everyone agrees. If you're still bullish, of course, this is a great opportunity to get in, not financial advice. Prediction markets, of course, also called this once again, and I did cover this news before. Polymarket predictions talking about a 61% chance that Bitcoin drops below 100K by 2026. I think the question was, what's going to happen first? Bitcoin below 100,000 or Bitcoin all-time high? And it seems like a lot of people were predicting Bitcoin below 100,000, and they got it right. If you're in prediction markets, once again, man, there's a market for these prediction markets. Yeah, they got it right. So congrats. So yeah, we know prediction market degens were right again. All right, cool. So that's been going on. This is a interesting chart to look at. As Bitcoin's price is at, let's just say $100,000, let's just say right now, approximately 57% of total investment capital is at a loss. Does that make sense to you? So 57% of everybody that is invested in Bitcoin has bought over $100,000 average price, right? Well, you fools, what are you doing? Well, I'm one of them. I don't know. It's hypocritical for me to say, but yeah, I mean, my average price is 107,000, so I'm part of the crew that is at a loss currently. So only, don't make me do math here, 43%, 33%. It's 43%. 43% of people are in profit in Bitcoin as the price is 100,000. So that's not good. But I mean, come on. I already took my profits on Bitcoin. Like everything I had below 100,000, I took profits when it was 100,000 plus. So I'm fine. I'm just re-entering because you always go back for more, you know? It's like gambling. No, not really. But yeah, dog with hoodie. Market is highly manipulated. I mean, yep, that's true. We all know that. Here's another reason. Largest open interest meltdown. The open interest on Bitcoin. Here's a good topic on it. Since the October 10th liquidation event, Bitcoin open interest has dropped more than at any point in this cycle. And we're talking about like basically leverage, right? That's what this is. Binance is down $4 billion in open interest. Bybit is down $3 billion in open interest. Gate.io is down $2 billion. Traders have not rushed back in with leverage. Normally, leverage rebuilds quickly after a wipeout, but this time it hasn't after October 10, which shows that confidence is still shaken, which explains this slow and choppy price action. The market is operating with less leverage and fewer aggressive positions. The upside is that when leverage resets like this, the market usually becomes more stable. It lowers the risk of another sudden cascade and sets up a healthier base for the next move. So this is a Bitcoin reset, not really a breakdown. I kind of agree with this one more. I know I just talked about like all that money that gets liquidated per day, like I said. So leverage still exists, of course. I mean, look at us, right? What we're doing here. It still exists. We're still doing it. But the vast majority of people who were affected by October 10, I mean, it was pretty significant. Everybody who was in altcoins with leverage got wiped out. And we're talking about millionaires here losing all their money. Like huge drawdowns on their portfolios. We saw that. And a lot of people likely gave up and just, you know, quit doing leverage or are now holding spot instead. That's kind of the sentiment that's become after October 10 liquidation event that we all saw. My gosh, I am getting tired. So that's, you know, that explains the choppiness here. Not a lot of people are willing to long, or like they're still scared, right? A lot of people that lost their money on that day. So yep. Here's your favorite asset, Ethereum, how it has been performing throughout the years. We've seen 3.3 thousand since May 2021, August 21, September 21, January 22, April, February 24, April, July, November 24, January, July, November 25. I think Ethereum should just become a stable coin at this point. We've seen the same price for Ethereum like so many times. It won't go up, won't go down. It's just there. Fine. What are other companies doing here? Metaplanet borrows $100 million in loan by using its Bitcoin as collateral to buy more Bitcoin. That's interesting. Maybe I should do that. MoonPay is now live in the Pump Fun app. There's a partnership going on. So users worldwide on pump.fun can on-ramp using Apple Pay, Venmo, PayPal, Revolut, Interact, and Google Pay to buy their favorite tokens. Just more ways to, you know, get into buying memes or whatever you want to do on pump.fun. Ripple also partners with MasterCard to introduce RLUSD credit card settlements on XRP Ledger. I know we saw the other MasterCard, I think, partnership with, it was through Gemini Exchange, with that you'd get cash back on Ripple or something like that. That already existed, but now it seems like this one's different with RLUSD, the stablecoin, right, as credit card settlements. Interesting. Tangem, the Tangem wallet, I'm pretty sure this is, they launched a Tangem Pay, which would let users spend USDC via a Visa virtual card. That's interesting too. And it's required KYC for the Pay account. So if you hold any USDC in your wallet, your Tangem wallet, let's just say, you could convert those funds to a virtual Visa card and use it, I don't know, for checkout on Amazon or whatever you want to buy to reload like a prepaid Visa, right? Which is accepted worldwide. It's basically the easiest way to connect stablecoin blockchain to real world payments. That's cool. Yeah. Zach XBT update with Binance of all people. BNB Chain Twitter account posted that keeping Web3 safe takes more than tech. It takes people who care enough to trace every lead. And who better than Zach XBT, of course. He is now supporting the BNB Chain community to help keep the ecosystem cleaner, fairer, and more transparent. And this is met with a bit of controversy because people are like, okay, well, Binance is the top manipulator here, so why is Zach XBT joining forces with the crime chain? What's going on here, right? So yeah, that's the meme here. My thoughts on Tangem, I don't know too much about them, but I do see them around. I mean, it's is it a hot wallet? I think it is, right? Gem. Oh, it's a hardware wallet. Yeah, I don't know too much about it. I don't know how many cryptocurrencies they support or anything like that. I'm familiar only with like Ledger and Trezor wallets because I've researched both of them, but I haven't really looked at Tangem. So I couldn't give you a clear answer on it, sorry. Good news is that Jim Cramer, we love this. This is perfect bottom indicator, guys. He says that we are now in a bear market. And if you know anything about this man, Jim Cramer, is you do exactly the opposite, or everything he says, the opposite happens, right? Which is perfect. The fact that he thinks we're in a bear market means that we are indeed not in a bear market. We are in a bull market. And I mean, I've shown the proof before. The inverse Cramer is what we call this. You do the opposite of whatever this guy calls. It outperforms even Nancy Pelosi's, insider trader stock portfolio, which is just insane, right? So he's good at doing the opposite, and it's just historically proven. It's literally money proven with percentages and everything. There's people who track this kind of stuff. If he says like buy Tesla or something, and if you short Tesla, then you end up making a lot more money. And I guess I should have covered this one a bit earlier, but it's pretty funny. What is this? Okay. So remember the Aster post, the bull post from CZ is like, hey guys, full disclosure, I'm just buying some Aster today using my own money on Binance. I'm not a trader, I buy and hold. Obviously he bought and then he posts it on Twitter, makes himself a quick profit. CZ candle, he's like, damn, I was hoping to buy some more at low prices, ha ha ha. Well, hey, guess what? Now you do have Aster at low prices. Come on, let me type. Aster. Oh, well, we're up 12% today, suddenly. So this is the CZ candle. This is Aster at lower prices. Did CZ buy at these lower prices? No, he did not. I mean, at least not that we know of. So clearly he's lying here. Fully retraced. Now you can buy some more at low prices. Ha ha ha. Because he keeps using this ruffle emoji, rolling on the floor laughing. And he keeps posting that. So that's the whole meme here. And then CZ laughing at the Aster bag holders drowning is insane. Because like he's laughing at you when prices are down over here after he announced that he bought over here and obviously sold over here. I mean, who would be stupid enough not to sell? And yeah, so that's the situation going on there with CZ and Aster. All right. Look at that. Downtrend. Get out of here. Yeah, so that is all my news for today. Stats on Quiver Quant. Yeah, I know. I do follow Quiver Quant a lot for the inverse Kramer. They're pretty good. They track a lot of stuff, a lot of politician portfolios, and they do a good job of announcing like insider purchases, you know. Oh, this congressman sits in the department of whatever, and he bought a stock related to that department. And lo and behold, I don't know, a couple months later, oh look, we reported on it, and now this world event happened that made the stock go up, and this guy had bought into it earlier, so he clearly knew something. Stuff like that. Nancy Pelosi, of course, is the biggest one that everybody loves to track because, I mean, her returns are insane, right? But now she will be retiring, she said. She's not seeking re-election in the next term. So the queen of insider trading is gone. She's done. I don't think she announced any big trades for this year. The last big one I think I saw was like Tempest AI, some AI company, of course, which after she bought those call options, I mean, it exploded like crazy. I think she bought more Nvidia. Broadcom was another big one. Just off the top of my head, the best ones I could remember. But I mean, yeah, the inverse Kramer, it's crazy. It outperforms even Nancy Pelosi year to date. We covered that before, so yeah. Oh yeah, and she sold Apple. I remember that. I think she also, I think it was her, or maybe it was Marjorie Taylor Greene, selling Visa before it crashes. Like stuff like that is just, come on, way too perfect. Weren't they going to pass that like Pelosi Act to prevent congressional stock trading? I think it was this. Preventing elected leaders from owning securities and investments. That's what Pelosi stands for, which would have been a perfect thing, but they backtracked on that. It would have been so funny though if this actually came out. The Pelosi Act to prevent people from insider trading because this darn Pelosi lady keeps on insider trading, right? It's pretty funny. Preventing elected leaders from owning securities and investments. Yup. That's funny. But yeah, no, they're changing that. They're not going to do that anymore. Oh, I got a bonus voucher. What are we buying? Or what are we selling? I'm going to be shorting something. I have to. What's good? Can I short Aster? Please let me short Aster. Can I use voucher? Shut. Why do you only let me long? Use? Oh, here we go. Short. Am I an Aster? Yes. 5x short. You're on, pal. Come on, CZ. I dare you to buy now. He probably will, just because he saw me short. CZ watches my streams, by the way. Alright. We're very close to 114. Oh my gosh, I wish. 104,000 on Bitcoin. We're at 103,800. We were close to 100. Did we hit 104? Yeah, we did. We hit 104,153 just recently. So, yeah, in my opinion, bottom is in. If not, that's 96,000. But honestly, why? Why? No reason for us to be dropping, guys. But we're still doing it anyway. It's clear manipulation, but price suppression. It's obvious. The money exists to make this thing go to the moon, and it will. We just got to be patient. Warren Buffett says wealth transfer is from impatient to patient people. So just be patient, buy the dips where you're supposed to, right? These past couple oversold areas were great opportunities for entry, right? You don't got to be a genius. Just look at where prices were at. That's kind of what I've been trying to do. I got a bit carried away over here and bought a bit early, thinking that, oh, we're not going to drop to 100,000. No, anything is possible in these markets, and it's you versus the market at the end of the day. So you're going to lose. Try to outsmart it. Let's go. We're making profit already on Aster. I mean, the reason I am shorting it is because, well, Aster, trash product, as we all know. It's okay. It does its job, I guess, and it has its utility, but hyperliquid on top. Long hyperliquid, short Aster. Wow, literally putting my money where my mouth is here. And, I mean, it's all just Aster go up because CZ talk good about it. That's it. That's your fundamentals. The volume, it's stolen from Binance. Don't believe DeFi Llama. And they even got banned from DeFi Llama from doing that, but they just got reinstated because, I don't know, they probably got tipped off once again. And also I'm longing everything, so I mean, since I am longing everything, if things go up, I will already make profit. But if things go down, I might as well take some form of a profit with this miserable entry that I've just made. While at the same time, of course, suffering with the rest of these. If, by the way, you're worried about my portfolio is doing perfectly fine. You do not worry. I'm only halfway through losing everything. Which means that everything will have to drop another drop like the drop that we experienced this past week for me to be liquidated, which that's not going to happen. And if it does by then the bull cycle is over at that point, right? Bitcoin dropping from, where were we? Let's just say 115, 200,000. Okay, that's $15,000 gone. And then another $15,000 from 100,000 to 85,000. Yeah, I'll be gone. I'll be gone by then. But I'll probably, like, I'm obviously monitoring the 96,000 is the most important level for Bitcoin. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. Okay, so I will be back tomorrow, guaranteed, unless, of course, once again, my job asks me to do overtime. I don't think they will. It was just a one-off thing. I had to do overtime to do some training. I know, right? Me training already on my first couple of weeks on the job. Pretty impressive, right? Anyway. I am severely in debt. I did put myself in debt to buy more Bitcoin on spot, but I think it will obviously pay off. It's on spot. I'll never lose as long as I don't sell at a loss. Sure, I may or may not have bought a little too high. I'm part of that crew, the 57% that is at a loss for buying Bitcoin above 100,000. But yeah, anyway. We'll see where things go. My view, my outlook is still positive, and we'll be streaming every day, covering every news and every movement. Every little movement will not escape our eyes. For Bitcoin, of course, your resistance is right up here, 110,000. Okay. Have a great rest of your evening, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Thanks for subscribing, by the way. We're really close to 100. To 500, not to 100. So, yeah. All right. I'll be gone now. Bye.